Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Good Tues Newsday. If you're new here, that means we're going to cover positive news that make you get hope in humanity or in the world. And we've got a lot of that today. I have at least 5 stories. I think you have 4 stories or 3 stories. A long one. So let's get into it. This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our news stories 15 minutes before we start. We just got caffeine. We're just waking up and learning how to read live on stream. And let's read out our positive headlines. Today on Good Tues Newsday. So, there's a decrease in poverty in Mexico. And these trees survived Hiroshima. Group plants their seed worldwide to preserve their memory.
Good morning for Good Tues Newsday, where good news all over the world. Scientists turn grapevine waste into clear, strong packing materials that vanish in days. And a woman, after a 3-week search, finds a huge diamond.
Wow. In Scotland, we talk about a Scottish schoolgirl who was named on Time's First Girls of the Year list, which we covered on Friday. And in Vermont, Dog Mountain is the perfect place to celebrate the bond between dogs and their humans.
And good news, not all billionaires are shitheads. Nike co-founder Phil Knight makes a huge donation to a U.S. school, and a pit bull saves some lives.
In my culture news, it's like having a button that makes the audience go nuts. An interview with Deep Purple on Smoke on the Water.
And it's National Potato Day. And we know biggest agricultural product is potato. August 19th, 2025 on Before Coffee.
I like potato. Boil and mash them, stick them in a stew.
The only Scottish accent I knew forever was Scotty from Star Trek, and he wasn't even Scottish.
No, he wasn't. He was so it's not a realistic accent, probably. Either.
But he did it well, right? He
got that, yeah.
Everybody. I Captain, I can't get her no more.
Well, I'm going to ask a Scottish person if they got fooled. I'm not sure about that one. They fooled everybody.
I'm about, I don't know, 17% Scottish, so fooled me.
Yeah, but that's genetically. He didn't live there. Well, to be fair, there are some Scottish cultural practices you have, but a lot of them are German. A lot of your cultural practices, I would say, are German. Like making sauerkraut.
The other day.
That's pretty German, not Scottish.
The other day I went out and rounded up some Jews. It was fun.
Anyway. All right, let's get with our segue.
Terrible joke. Yeah. I can rag on my own group, can't I? I mean,
here we go.
25%.
There you go. That's what you get for that joke. The first.
Sorry, man.
Segue is
stepping all day. How's that?
Hypothetical. So give me a hypothetical scenario for both of these stories. My first one is about Mexico's poverty decreasing. They're actually succeeding in decreasing poverty and
so you were
creating measurable.
I didn't hear you there. What was that? I did not hear your little
hypothetical.
Hypothetical. Okay. Right.
For the first time in modern Mexican history, it's not just speeches, but a measurable reality that millions of Mexicans have emerged from poverty. This is on Diario.Mexico from Armando Cabada, an analyst. I don't know what he's an analyst for, but he's an analista. That's what it says. For the first time in modern Mexican history, it wasn't just rhetoric, but a measurable reality that millions of Mexicans have been lifted out of poverty. Contrary to what PRI and PAN politicians told for decades. I'm sure those are political parties in Mexico, which I want to look at what that is. Because the one issue with doing news stories from the source, the country they're from, is that they don't give you any info about
PRI.
What things are. PRI party in Mexico. The Institutional Revolution Party is a major political party in Mexico, founded in 1929. It's dominated Mexican politics for much of the 20th century, but they lost challenges. They had challenges during the 2000 and 2018. Can you tell me what they stand for? It held uninterrupted power for 71 years. Okay.
Yeah, they stand for having power. That's what
having power permanently in Mexico. Yeah. And then the PAN party.
Political party. What do they stand for? Being in power. That's what they stand for. Anything people stand for is kind of ancillary to their real goals.
Yeah, but it's just good to know. Like, oh, these are the people who want to kill immigrants. That's huge. The National Action Party, or PAN, is a conservative political party in Mexico, founded in 1939. It's one of the also main political parties, and it was the party that got elected after those 71 years of PRI, the PRI party. So what Armando is saying here is that, contrary to the main two parties of Mexico, I've been telling you for decades that actually through consistent state policy and above all political will, poverty has been reduced, fulfilling the premise that gave rise to the Fourth Transformation government: for the good of all, the poor come first. So while the main parties that were in power for, one for 71 years and one for taking over after that 71 years.
Yeah, right.
We're speaking about that's not going to work. Hey, guess what, assholes? It worked. We got people out of poverty. According to figures from INEGI, National Institute of Statistics and Geography, 13.4 million people escaped poverty from 2018 to 2024, dropping from the 51.9 million Mexicans living in poverty to just 38. That's amazing! Wow!
26%.
Awesome. These figures are supported by the autonomy of two institutions responsible for measuring poverty. First, CONEVAL, National Institute of Statistics and Geography, and the and now the INEGI, the National Institute of Statistics and Geography. They're the same, but I guess they switched who was covering it. 7 years ago, with the arrival of the Fourth Transformation, the opposition tried to deceive the public by claiming that Mexico would become a poor nation under the government of Andrés Manuel López Obrador. Today, reality smacks those arguments in the face and proves right that people who voted for this change in the national life. We are experiencing a paradigm shift in Mexico's social and economic policy. Those who claim that the minimum wage could not be increased without generating negative consequences such as inflation and unemployment are now forced to remain silent in the face of verifiable evidence that they are wrong in their predictions. It's not even a prediction. This has been measured. I mean, your famous thing you like to say all the time, right? You give people more money to spend, the economy gets better. So giving people more wages so that they can spend money and spread that money around. Right?
When you say people, I mean, when you give people who have nothing money, they spend it for needs, not for, oh boy, I need a new yacht. Or
let me put this in a savings account or in stock options, which does nothing for the economy. Yeah,
T-bills. Or, hey, you know what? Maybe buy 5 more cars. No. Well, actually, that does stimulate the economy, but and big purchases do stimulate the economy somewhat.
Yeah.
But if you want the local economy to stimulate it, you just give it to poor people and they spend it on
and that's
food.
exactly what they did. They gave money to people who were unemployed. And, or I should say, they gave money, they increased wages, more people were unemployed, are now employed, and now they're spending that money, in their local area, their local stores, they're stimulating the economy.
And don't forget, Mexico is an extreme case of what the oligarchs are trying to turn the United States into. A bunch of people at the bottom with nothing, and like 7 people at the top with everything.
Or we should say it was.
Currently is. Yeah, it was. I mean, it still kind of is. It's evening out, but it is a long way to go.
They have to, as we just discovered, right? They're fighting 71 years of oligarchy, right? 71 years of people just saying, we can't help people. That will make me have less money, and that's all that matters. But anyways, let's go on with the story.
Democracy has this thing called elections where they can screw with the economy in another couple of years. So you never know if this is even going to continue. I'm sorry.
Something similar, this is good Tues Newsday. Something similar happened with social programs. Opposition critics claimed that they were purely clientelist and would have no other use than electoral benefits. They too must publicly admit they were wrong again. Oh, you're just saying you want to make a social program to get votes. No, actually, we want to do them so that we help people. Oh shit, they helped people and you got votes. Ah! I can't believe this! But the paradigm is not only economic, but also social and public. Today, poverty is not fought solely from the decision-making positions, but through the work of thousands of public servants who, under the leadership of the Ministry of Welfare, deliver aid to historically neglected areas such as Sierra del Hierro, Tarahumara, and the highlands of the Chiapas. Additionally, aid is now direct transactions, so it does not require intermediaries who pocketed the lion's share, as was the case under previous governments. Keeping the poor poor. Hey, yeah, we're gonna give you 10,000 pesos to pay your local poor area. Okay, well, I'm gonna pocket 80,000 of that for my own stuff, and then give 2,000 to the rest of the poor people. Convenient. Since the beginning of Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador's administration, and now with President Claudia Sheinbaum, the phrase for "good for all, the poor first" has gone from being a campaign slogan to becoming a reality in public policy. Wow, imagine that, saying you're going to give people things and then doing it. Other governments, however, getting stuck on that bit. They're getting Leah. It was no longer just rhetoric for the first time. It is a budgetary and government priority. Result is notable improvements in purchasing power as a result of social programs and the real increase in minimum wage, which, by rising above inflation, has brought many benefits to economic development. Armando must clarify that not only did income poverty decrease, but so-called multidimensional poverty and above all extreme poverty also decreased, falling from 9.1 million Mexicans to just 7 million Mexicans in those areas. I think multidimensional poverty is like you don't have money, you don't have a house, you don't have food, it just like so much things you are missing. So they reduced that from 9 million to 7 million. So 2 million less people are now just normal poor instead of extremely poor. Further, the lack of access to education, healthcare, and social security, housing, and food was reduced. All of this can be found in the INEG press release 11825 if you want to read it yourself. Although the process is truly significant, we cannot indulge in the triumphalism that makes us lose sight of what still remains to be done. That's right. Mexico's not done yet. They just got started. The challenges of extreme poverty, informality, and unequal access to health services are challenges that must be resolutely confronted. While the progress made in 6 years is greater than in the last 3 decades, the continuity of the transformation project is necessary to ensure these achievements are not reversed. Ultimately, what is truly important is that today millions of Mexicans can sleep with a plate of food on their table, and that's not propaganda, it's just justice. So thank you, Armando, for your, realistic but also victory lap here. It was an opinion piece, and I kind of agree with him. It's nice when you have an opinion that you agree with. Give me a hypothetical.
Hypothetical, wouldn't it be, what was I just thinking about? Scared out of my mind. Wouldn't it be nice if the United States tried... Oh, wait, we did try this. 1993.
Yeah.
Now, hypothetically, Bill Clinton raised taxes on rich people, and within 7 years, he balanced the budget. The last time the budget was balanced, the first time the budget was balanced, since before World War II. And, of course, the Republicans got in power and gave all that money back to rich people and said, hey, we're going to crash the economy. And it took them 8 years, but they did it again, and they just keep recycling the same thing. Mexico has learned. Oh, here's my hypothetical. What if Mexico had a defense budget the size of the United States?
That's 7 trillion or whatever, 70 trillion or whatever the hell it is.
Imagine how really bad the poor people are.
Yeah.
Of course, they'd all be in the military. Hey, join the military and be
it's the only way you can get food on the table if you're in the military. Otherwise, you starve to death. Yeah. I mean, Mexico was really bad. Like, I don't know if America had been that bad since maybe the Great Depression. That level of poverty that was just normalized in Mexican society for 70 years or so.
Yeah, I was in Mexico in the 1990s, and they actually had a kidnapping-based economy. I wish I was exaggerating, but they said if you are from another country, watch your ass, they're kidnapping people. because
Yeah, and that's
you're
the
from
only way
another
they can get
country,
food on
other
the
countries
table.
have money and we don't.
Hmm.
That's not the only way, but it was one of the ways. It's obviously not the only way. But anyway, go ahead, next story.
All right, my next good news story is about trees surviving in Hiroshima, and then they're planting those seeds around the world in honor of their memory. These are some ginkgo trees in Japan. This is on Good News Network by our dear friend Andy Corbley. In Japan, an organization is planning how to help ensure that Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings are remembered for thousands of years rather than hundreds. I agree. I mean, there's people who weren't even alive when that shit happened. We have to keep remembering that it was bad. It was not a casual thing. It was evil. Its plan revolves around the Hiba Kujimoku, or the 8 bomb surviving trees of Hiroshima. With the 80th anniversary of the bombings having just concluded, it's worth taking a moment to learn about the trees that survived one of the nation's darkest decisions. Giant fireball that preceded the detonation of the atom bomb, if it can be believed, couldn't wipe out all the trees in the blast zone. This eucalyptus tree, for example, was only half a mile from the epicenter. Called Green Legacy Hiroshima and launched in 2011, the organization worked to cultivate seeds of peace and hope from these woody survivors and transport them around the world to be planted and raised in memorial peace gardens, not unlike the World Peace Pagodas of the inspirational Buddhist leader Guruji. So they're all over the world. You can find this tree. There's these eucalyptus ginkgo trees, and they'll say, in honor of that giant freaking nuclear bomb that they dropped in Japan, which should not happen ever again, please. When the roots of the idea that would become the GLH were first planted, there were 170 Hiba-Kujimoku, but the human A-bomb survivors, called Hibakushi, time was beginning to reduce their number. Were they also dying of radiation poisoning? Oh god. Some died of natural causes. Others were cut down by accident. Wow, that's embarrassing. Organizer Nasreen Azimi and Tomoko Watanabe realized that they had to act faster than they had realized, so sprouted GLH to try and protect the trees, which at that point had no official protection whatsoever. Come on, guys, these guys survived a nuclear bomb. They were outside the bounds of the UNESCO World Heritage Site that encompasses the bombing site and other related memorial infrastructure, so any protection had to come through awareness raising. They accomplished this by taking GLH global. As of 25, 41 countries around the world have received and planted seeds from the Hiba Kujimoku, ensuring their legacy continues, even if they don't. The GLH is a volunteer project supported by the UN Institute for Training and Research, UNITAR. And out of respect for the fundraising efforts channeled by the stories and advocacy of the Bakushi, the project does not fundraise from the public. Part of the awareness raising is the notion of a 1,000-year memorial project to eclipse the small year-by-year anniversaries of the day. I've been taught Hiroshima's peace education since I was a kid, says the Hiroshima native 27-year-old Mariko Kikuchi, an expert in UNITAR's Division of Prosperity, but didn't know about the trees. It should be more publicized that they are survivors too. One of the flagship stories is from a tree closest to the epicenter of the blast, a weeping willow, eerily appropriate for the job. The tree's trunk was splintered and turned to ash in the explosion, but by 1947, while Hiroshima Mayor Shinzo Hamai was surveying the blast damage, he found the trunk had already sprouted again, a sign of hope, as he took it. Later that year, the first annual Hiroshima Peace Festival was held, and crowds of thousands gathered from around the world. Many of those old photographs feature stoic faces, and behind them in the background stand the Hiba Kujimoku, damaged but alive and slowly regrowing. Brings a tear to your eye. I mean, I'm actually going to cry, but I can control myself, so I won't. So, let's get these seeds around the world so that we can celebrate in 1,000 years the survival, hopefully, of people from nuclear disaster. Yes? See you then. Yeah?
Hypothetically. Anyway, I could just say that and I'm done, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
No. What if Japan didn't start a bunch of shit with China and try to grab resources instead? Maybe it was their culture to just grab stuff back when they invaded China back in the 30s, but That's kind of where they pissed off the world, right?
Well, they were committing war crimes themselves. Yes, that's true.
Right.
And they were
And
the
another
first Asian
hypothetical-
country to defeat Russia in a war,
Right.
in a battle.
Yeah, Russia.
So-
What year was this? 1860?
I thought the 1800s is when the Meshi area. I don't remember. Do not ask me about dates. I know I wrote my master's thesis about this, but I don't remember the dates.
Japan.
1900s. I think it was the
in spite of having
1900s or somewhere right before the 1900s. They beat Russia in that fight for that land right there by Japan, the northern mainland of Japan.
Japan, in spite of being dropped on with 2 atom bombs, has 95,000 people over 100 years old. And hypothetically, how many would they have without those atom bombs? Would they have less or more?
Probably more. I don't know. Yeah. The problem with Hiroshima and Nagasaki is that they were civilian target. They weren't. There's no military anything there, right? Well, they weren't like.
Oh, the
Factory
reason they
towns.
used them is because they were modern cities that didn't have a lot of old stuff that was going to just
Yeah,
lay to
Kyoto
waste.
and stuff
They,
like that.
they had other,
Yeah.
yeah, Kyoto. They had other targets. They said, nah, we don't want to destroy ancient temples. So there was that. So yeah, again, people were going to die. It's just a matter of where or how.
I mean, it is true. We're all gonna die at some point. You're right. Everyone.
I mean, if you're sitting there and you're winning a war and it's at a frickin' stalemate, and you got this giant frickin' fly swatter that you can use to end it, and you hit it once, and they go, "See, we hit you with this giant fly swatter. Do you want that again?" And they go, "Yeah, we do want that again." And then you do it again. They finally go, "Oh shit, they did it again." So there's a metaphor.
Our
again,
next
but that was what you
segue
asked
is
for.
bad pun,
Next segue.
and we're gonna go to your
War's
next
a messy
stories.
business. When you start wars, you got to finish them, right? Okay.
And also, hello, Vonka.
Okay,
Thank you for claiming third place.
The good news continues. Scientists turn grapevine waste into clear, strong films that vanish in days. How you like that? Yeah, science. I love it. This is from ScienceDaily.com. Currently, most packaging is single-use and is made with plastic materials derived from non-renewable sources like crude oil that take hundreds of years to decompose in the environment. On top of this, only 9% of plastic is recycled. This has resulted in the formation of floating piles of plastic garbage in the ocean called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, or the GPGP.
Delicious.
Oh yeah. But maybe even more concerning is the discovery of micro and nanoplastics in the environment. Yeah, and our bodies. Research has found that plastic breaks down into tiny particles that are being ingested or inhaled in bodies by both humans and animals, and are found literally everywhere, including the human body, according to recent research studies. Worse, little is known about the long-term health effects of microplastic. But humans are living longer, which is weird, right? Srinivas Janaswamy is a associate professor at South Dakota State University Department of Dairy and Food Service, or the SDSUDDFS. I love that. His research has focused on developing value-added products through bio-waste and agricultural products. One of the overarching goals of Janaswamy's research is to tackle the plastic waste crisis. Perhaps the biggest contributor to plastic waste, at least in the United States, is plastic bags, which have been banned in a number of states. I was just living in one of them, Oregon. You can't get a plastic bag. Delaware also banned them. So these bags were sometimes recycled, are often only used, and can be found littered throughout the environment. Yeah. They're also good for trash, right? Because you can just reuse them. So if you repurpose the shopping bags, it is bad because you're buying shopping bags. I mean, trash bags, and if trash bags don't really decompose at all, at least
No.
the
And
heavy
like,
duty ones.
let's be honest, most people don't repurpose anything, right? Oh, I could use this for this. Nah, I'm just gonna throw it in the trash. That's what they do.
I repurpose everything because I'm a cheap bastard, but that's me.
And me too, but I'm just
This is
saying
my-
most people don't.
To address this problem, Janaswamy is working toward developing a plastic-like bag that will decompose in the environment. That is my dream, Janaswamy said. The key ingredient of Janaswamy's work, cellulose. The biopolymer is the most abundant organic substance on Earth and is found primarily in the cell walls of plants. Tobacco leaves are just nothing but cellulose, and we just smoke them and put them in our lungs. They can repurpose them, use them for something else. Cellulose, thanks to strong hydrogen bonds and a chain of glucose molecules, give plants a structural strength and rigidity along with other biopolymers, such as xylose, hemocellulose, and lignin. Humans have long used cellulose to create products. Cotton, the material used to make majority of the world's clothing, is primarily composed of cellulose. Wood is rich in cellulose as well. In previous research, Janaswamy has extracted cellulose from agricultural products like avocado peels, soy hulls, alfalfa, switchgrass, spent coffee grounds, corn cob, and banana peels. He used the extracted cellulose to develop films, materials that look and feel similar to traditional plastic wrapping. By extracting cellulose from agricultural products, value-added products can be created. So this leads us on to the newest discovery, grapevine canes. Janaswamy had just finished presenting Ag Biomass, a holy grail to clean up plastic mess at SDSU's, or South Dakota State University's celebration of faculty excellence, when he was approached by Ann Fennell, a distinguished professor in the Department of Agronomy, Horticulture, and Plant Science, and fellow College of Agriculture, Food, and Environmental Sciences faculty member. After listening to Janaswamy's presentation, Fennell became interested in research and had an idea. A leading researcher in the study of grapevines, she knew that grapevine canes, the woody material that grapes grow on, were rich in cellulose. She also knew that grapevine canes were abundant and had limited use after. Every year, we prune the majority of yearly biomass off the vine. The pruned canes are either mowed over, composted, and reapplied to the soil, or burned in some areas. Research in Australia showed that prunings could be removed from the field in alternate years without affecting the soil health. My thought was that why not use value-added films? Several of the materials in Janaswamy previously used at high water content and the wintry pruning yields a cellulose-dense material with low water content. Yes, it's all dried out by the fall, right? Making them an abundant, ideal material work. Fennell's idea led to collaboration, and soon Janaswamy was extracting cellulose, which looks almost like cotton, from the canes of grapevines. The resulting films were eye-opening. According to a recent study published in the academic journal Sustainable Food Technology, Janaswamy's grapevine canes films are transparent and strong and biodegradable within 17 days in the soil, leaving behind no high transmittance and packaging films, enhances product visibility, making them more attractive to consumers and facilitating easy quality inspection without the need for These films demonstrate outstanding potential for food packing applications. There's your fun, good news today about grapevines. Give me a segue. We'll go to the next story.
Oh, it sounds like we're bagged, sealed, and delivered on those grapevine bags.
All right, hold on. We gotta do the old soundboard. Oops. There we go.
Woo! There we go. Thank you very much. All right, you got another story for me, I'm assuming.
Another story. This one's shorter. This is ABC News, had the shorter version of this story. A lot of people wanted, I don't know, they wanted to explain their life story or something. ABCnews.com, Shafiq Najib, ABCnews.go.com.
ABC on the go, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, ABC.go.com. That's what it says. After 3-week search, woman finds 2.3 carat diamond in Arkansas park for engagement ring. The headline I first originally read was, she found her engagement ring after a 3-week search. And I was like, she lost her engagement ring in a big, gigantic diamond field? That's weird. Anyway, a woman from New York searching for the perfect stone for her engagement ring struck gold, or rather diamond, with a stunning 2.3 carat find. Big ring, big diamond. Michelle Fox of Manhattan decided about 2 years ago she wanted to find her own diamond. In July, she traveled to Crater of Diamonds State Park in Murfreesboro, Arkansas, the only public site in the world where visitors can search for and keep any gems they find, according to the state park. I was willing to go anywhere in the world, she told the state park in a recent interview. I researched and it turned out that the only place in the world to do it right was in our backyard in Arkansas. Well, if you're in Manhattan, Arkansas is not in your backyard, but okay. She's not a geography major, apparently. Since becoming a state park in 1972, Crater of Diamonds has yielded more than 35,000 diamonds, including a record-breaking 40.23 carat Uncle Sam. That's got to be a huge diamond. Big chunk of carbon. Fox arrived on July 8th and spent nearly every day of her 3-week trip digging for diamonds. During her final day, on July 29th, she spotted a glint in the park's 37.5-acre search area. It was a glint. Hey, it's a glint. There must be glints everywhere, right? At first, she thought it might be a dew-covered spider web, but when she shine didn't fade, she nudged it with her boot and picked it up. Having never seen an actual diamond in my hands, I didn't know for sure. Diamondy diamond I had seen, she recalled. Fox later rushed the Diamond Discovery Center, where the staff confirmed it was a white, colorless diamond weighing more than 2 carats, according to the state park. I got really lucky and I worked hard, Fox said in an interview that aired August 13th in NBC News World News Tonight with David Muir, adding that her advice to others to hold on to being optimistic and bold, even though it's naive. More than 350 diamonds have been found at the park this year, and Fox's gem, which she named Fox Baloo Diamond after her and her partner's last name, is the 3rd largest discovered there in 2025. Looking back, Fox said her experience at the park was all about getting her hands dirty, crediting park staff and fellow visitors for making the trip unforgettable. After all the research, there's luck and there's hard work, she said in the interview with the state park. When you are literally picking up the dirt in your hands, no amount of research can do that for you, and no amount of education could take you all the way. It was daunting. So she literally found a diamond in the rough, did she? Huh? So
pretty cool.
I just wanted to throw that.
The metaphor in there. Huh.
Anyway.
My pun is...
That's your story.
My puns may not be flawless, but they're certainly diamond worthy. I'm not just any gem, I'm a diamond in a rough. Yeah, there's so many.
Right?
You can't spell diamond without I'm on my way to my backyard to find a diamond, I guess.
Okay, man.
They may not be flawless, but they're certainly a cut above all the rest. Okay. Too many puns. So many different puns. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Exactly. Oh my god. Next story. Next wheel.
Just press all the sound. Next segue is, and also hello, Yin. Thank you for stopping by and getting your daily elixir. Tell me a joke.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. A joke. All right.
And our jokes are going to be about, well, 2 different things. The first one is a schoolgirl from Scotland who's helping homeless people. This is by Jodie Harrison on the Herald Scotland.
Boy.
The Scottish schoolgirl who has designed a solar-powered backpack with an electric blanket inside to help homeless people has been named on the first ever Time Magazine Girls of the Year list, or as we like to say, unhoused people. Rebecca Young from Glasgow was aged just 11 when she came up with the idea after becoming concerned about people sleeping on the streets during a freezing Scottish winter. Now 12, she has been named alongside 9 other girls from around the world, all recognized as being young leaders inspiring communities, as part of a list aimed at celebrating and empowering girls. The Kelvinside Academy pupil described it as cool and very unexpected to be among those named, adding, "I'm honored by the fact that they wanted to include me in the Girls of the Year list. I hope every other kid sees it and decides they'll do their part in helping people." Rebecca, who has already won a UK Engineering Award earlier this year for her design, and she is interested in art, innovation, music, and one day hopes to pursue a career in music. She wants to be a musician, which she said can also help lots of people in many different ways. Rebecca designed has resulted in 30 of the blankets being manufactured and distributed to a shelter in Glasgow with plans to make more. She and 8 other girls are featured as part of the limited edition animated time cover, reimagined as Lego minifigures, with each character aimed at capturing the spirit of their achievements. Talked about this on Friday, but if you don't know about it, they finally gave some girls some recognition for inventing shit and doing things for people. They found that children are twice as likely to credit major inventions to men, with most believing that Wi-Fi, 69%, and the moon landing software, 68%, were invented by men, even though they were pioneered by women. That's right. It wasn't Bluetooth from Sweden, but also actually a woman. Wait, wasn't it the woman we talked about, the actress? What was her name?
Patty Lamar invented frequency hopping.
Patty Lamar actually, but they gave her credit for pioneering what would later become Bluetooth. And all she's known for is being an actress. I'm just saying, in that video we watched, they said he pioneered the creation of. Anyways, and as anyone would know, everyone should know this, but if you don't know this, I don't know how you don't know this, but the way the first human beings got to the moon was done by a woman and a lot of calculations on a paper. Okay? No computers.
Slide rule.
Yep.
Slide rules. Don't forget those.
And she doesn't get any credit for that. Not enough credit.
Oh, she got credit. They made a whole movie about it. What are you talking about?
I know, but I'm saying she doesn't get enough.
She didn't at the time.
The problem is, if you poll people, right, the problem is that depending on who you poll, and this might just be in Scotland, I don't know where they polled people, but still 68% of people gave the credit to men. Oh yeah, men helped men get on the moon. It's like, actually there were a lot of women involved too. Time Chief Executive Jessica Sibley said the first Lich features aged between 12 and 17 who are shaping their communities with courage and purpose. I made a joke on Friday that they said young girls, but I would consider that old girls, not young girls. You're about to not be a girl anymore at 12 and 17. Julia Galden, LEGO Group Chief Product Marketing Officer, said, "When girls don't see it, they don't believe it, and the world risks missing out on the next big breakthrough. There's no stopping what girls can build. Together with time, we hope these stories will inspire future generations of unstoppable female builders, dream big, and continue making their mark on the world. And also getting more girls to buy Legos, because that's definitely a demographic they miss out on. I didn't build the Legos when I was a kid, but I know plenty of boys, right, that built Legos when they were children. What the hell's that about? Anyways, give me a joke.
Oh boy. Homeless jokes. I don't even think I got one. I probably should have for a
It doesn't have to be about homeless people. It could be about Scottish girls. I don't know. That's probably worse.
Just nothing coming to me. I have to look something up. Seriously.
Okay, well, you should have done that. What the hell, man?
Here's a terrible joke about homeless people. I asked a pretty young homeless woman if I could take. She smiled at me and said yes. The look on her face soon changed, however, when I walked off with her cardboard box.
You took her home. Oh, wow, amazing.
I took her home. None of these jokes are like, What's the best part about dating a homeless girl?
It's still pretty funny.
Best part about dating a homeless girl, you can drop her off anywhere. Those are your cruel, heartless, homeless jokes for today.
My next story is about dogs on Dog Mountain in Vermont. I don't know what this is, but I'm sure they'll tell me about it. This is from Amanda Swinehart on The Independent. Ann Pace has been hearing about Dog Mountain for years, but until earlier this month had never made a trip to the park. I really wanted to see this place, she said during a visit to the grounds with her 1-year-old border collie Tam. I put a note up for my previous border collie. It was my best buddy. Set on 150 acres tucked away on a hillside in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, Dog Mountain has become a destination for dog lovers looking to explore nature, take in art, and pay tribute to a pet. The park was created 25 years ago by Vermont folk artist Stephen Huneck, and his wife Gwen, and features hiking trails, swimming ponds, and an art gallery and a dog chapel. Visitors can add to thousands of photos and notes to pets that cover the chapel walls. Oh, so that's what she means. She left a note to her previous border collie. May he be in doggy heaven. It's absolutely breathtaking. There's a lot of love when you think about each picture that's here, said Vanessa Hurley, who was visiting with her husband and 2 dogs from Ohio. Dogs and cats both. They just bring so much enjoyment to our lives, she said. Inspired by the bond he shared with his dogs, Hunick wanted to create a space where other animal lovers could celebrate their beloved pets. Gallery manager Pam McCann said, Dog Mountain is really a pilgrimage place and a sanctuary, she said. Hunick's sculpture, prints, and furniture are featured in the gallery and scattered throughout the park, including inside the chapel he built himself. With black labs and golden retrievers carved in the ends of each pew, and images of his own dog, Sally, in the stained glass windows. His love of dogs is evident in every detail. That's really cool. A dog stained glass. Scott Ritchie and his wife, Julie, have been traveling the country in an RV with their 3 large dogs and thought Dog Mountain would be the perfect place for them to stretch their legs. They enjoyed it so much on their first visit, they decided to come back the next day. It's very rare you see something like this anywhere. We've been traveling all over the U.S. for 5.5 months. Just a beautiful area, he said. McCann says the park was made for visitors like Richie. That's what it's for. People who really care and people who are very connected to everything around them, she said, including the animals that they are guardians of. So there's your short and sweet story about Dog Mountain in Vermont. Where was it again? I'm giving you the exact date, the exact place. St. Johnsbury, Vermont. Now, they probably don't sanitize it because why do they need to sanitize it? Are you eating off of it, Ivanka? Are you going to eat off the stained glass? Are you just telling a joke? I'm rolling my eyes at Ivanka. Friggin' Roger's supposed to be telling the jokes here, not you, Ivanka. Anyways, give me a joke.
Anybody can tell a joke. I don't care. What do you call a zoo? What do you call a zoo with only one dog?
What do you call it?
Joke. A shit zoo?
Shih Tzu. That's a... Wait, here we go. It's funny because Shih Tzu's a dog. There you go.
Yeah, okay. There's lots of dog jokes. I was looking for a pun with collie in it, but yeah, I don't know. There's my joke.
Harder than you can, yeah. Not as easy to think.
Okay. Spin the wheel. Let's do some more good news before I get bogged down and trying to tell bad jokes.
Yeah, right. Let's roll the wheel. Yatsu.
Nike co-founder.
Okay, I'm gonna associate this story with another thing. It's gonna remind me of something.
It was a few years ago. It was a couple of years ago. I think it was all these MAGA fools were burning their Nike shoes for some reason. It was like, I forget what it was. Maybe Nike donated to poor people or something. Oh my God, poor people. Anyway, Nike becoming one of those companies you do want to emulate because their co-founder Phil Knight, is actually a decent human being. A billionaire doing shit with his money that actually does something useful. Besides just, hey, let's hire a crew for my 15th yacht. Observer.com has the story. Alexandra Tremaine Pengelly, Nike co-founder Phil Knight, makes largest ever donation to U.S. school. This kind of knocked my socks off. Phil Knight, the co-founder of Nike, is donating $2 billion to a cancer research center at Oregon Health and Science University, or OHSU. And what the institution has dubbed the largest ever gift to U.S. University College or Academic Health Center. The donation from Knight and his wife, Penny, will support the school's Knight Cancer Knight Cancer Institute. Of course, they're going to name it after him. That's one of the benefits of giving all this money. They name it after him. That's a small price to pay. It's just a name. Knight isn't even a bad name to put on something. You know, who doesn't want to be a knight? Jeez. Anyway, Knight Cancer Institute, and continues the couple's long track record of backing cancer research. We couldn't be more excited about the transformational potential of this work for humanity, said the Knights in a statement. Their donation will focus on aiding cancer research, diagnosis, treatment, care, and someday eradication, they added.
I'm sorry, I
Because of the
misheard you, but it
magnitude-
sounded like you said eating. They're eating the research. Delicious.
Did I say that?
Yeah.
Aiding.
Eating, there you go.
Aiding.
Yeah, I was like, they're eating it.
That tasty research. Oh, that cancer tastes good. Hey, give me some more melanoma. More melanoma on my smashed potatoes over here. Because of the magnitude of the donation, the Knight Cancer Institute will now become a self-governed entity within OHSU. Probably their budget's bigger than the rest of the university, right? Overseen by the newly created cancer group, leading the group's Brian. In other words, hey, OHSU, you're not going to use this for sports programs, okay? You're not going to use this to line the dean's office gold plating. No, none of that shit. A physician. Oh my God. Leading the group is Brian Drucker, a physician scientist who chairs OHSU's leukemia research and was the leading developer of Gleevec, a groundbreaking precision cancer drug. With the Knights backing, the institution plans on accelerate diagnosis, expand access to clinical trials, and provide patients with a wide range of resources from counseling and symptom management and survivorship care. We revolutionized the way we detect and treat cancer, said Drucker in a statement. Now we are going to transform the way we care for patients while continuing to develop innovative treatments. Knight, who is 87, grew up in Portland, Oregon, and founded Nike in 1964 with his former University of Oregon track coach Bill Bowman, who led the company for decades, stepping down as CEO in 2004, retired as chairman nearly a decade later. With an estimated net worth of $35.9 billion, Knight in
Bill Bowman.
Knight and his wife have become among America's most prominent philanthropists. In 2024 alone, they donated $170.4 million, ranking as the nation's 10th most generous donors. And what are they doing now? They're doing $2 billion, which is almost 10 times that amount. About 8 times that amount, I guess. Many of the gifts have focused on Oregon institutions. In 2008, the couple gave $100 million to the Knight Cancer Institute, followed by a 2013 pledge of $500 million contingent on OHSU raising matching funds within 2 years that challenged the University of Met. That investment established one of the first large-scale early cancer detection programs. The Knight's philanthropy has extended beyond healthcare. And in 2023, they donated $400 million to the 1803 Fund to help revitalize Portland's historically black Albina neighborhood. They've also given heavily to higher education, $500 million gifts to the University of Oregon, which is a different college, scientific research, and $400 million donations to Stanford, which is in California, Knight's alma mater, in 2017 to establish a new science campus. So, Phil Knight doing stuff with his money that all should be doing. You can't spend it all in your lifetime. I would like to try, but I don't think you can spend $2 million in one lifetime just buying stuff for yourself. I'm not talking about, I need a sports team. No, none of that shit.
Like the actual things you need. Yeah. That physical things.
There was a time we made fun of these assholes back in the late 1800s, the Gilded Age. Mm-hmm. You know, we had the Vanderbilts and we had J.P. Morgan and all these oligarchs. Of course, you had Carnegie, right? But what did they do? And the Rockefeller. What did they do when they got so much money they couldn't stand it anymore? They gave it away. Wow! Yeah. Imagine that. They gave it away. They built stuff and they expected nothing in return. How about that? That is the only use billionaires actually have. Okay, time for your segue.
Yeah, I mean, you're completely right, and you've taken my associate away completely, because I was going to talk about that. But it's fine. It's fine. I mean, it is a really serious issue that there's people who have so much money, and then they just hold on to it. And like Demigorge is saying here in chat, right? You can't take it with you when you die. Yeah. And the only positive thing I can think of, which is barely very positive, right, is that money goes to your children. And then they get to In the worst case, yeah, be completely spoiled, people who don't care and realize that there's other human beings on the planet, or, become tech bros and invest it into freaking stocks and then make a bunch of money. I really love seeing those people, right, say, yeah, I was able to buy a house at 20 because my parents already had $10,000 for me, and invested in it in a bank account for 30 years or 20 years before I was 20, and then put it as a down payment for my first house. That's not you buying a house. That's your parents buying you a house. Okay? They were alive and put it in a freaking holdings account.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Diaper Donnie got a small $1 million loan.
Yeah, a small loan of $1 million.
You didn't get a small. First of all, it wasn't a loan. You will never pay it back, Donnie. $1 million ain't small. And 3, you wasted it. So yeah, he didn't make it. Anyway, that's a whole nother subject. Next, I guess I'll do my next story.
Yes, next story.
All right, this is more about dogs. We talked about border collies. Now we're going to talk border collies. Everybody's like, oh, they're so smart and so precious. Oh, I love me a border collie. But pit bulls have another reputation. And they have a reputation of ripping your face off. But here's one pit bull that saved lives. And this is from, let's see, this story is repeated several times, but the Guardian had the shortest version. So, Ramon Antonio Vargas, pit bull, hailed as hero for helping bring life-saving help to unconscious owners. We talked about homeless people, we talked about dogs, now we're going to talk about both. Isn't that convenient, right? You had a story about dogs, and then you had a story about homeless people, and I got a story about a dog saving the lives of homeless people. There we go. A dog reportedly braved heavy traffic to catch a stranger's attention and get life-saving emergency help to the animal's 2 owners after they became unresponsible in a tent encampment in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, by the way. Earning the canine fetting as a hero. Fetting as a hero. I love British words. I have to go look it up now. As local resident Gary Tynes put it both in social media posts and in an interview with the Pittsburgh television station WTAE, he was playing with his dog in a park on the evening of 29 July when a pit bull approached, barking and evidently trying to get someone's attention. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Holy shit, it's a pit bull, run for your lives. Nope. Tynes left his dog with a friend and then began following as he was led away by the pit bull. He and the animal crossed the street, teaming with motorists, ended up at a tent encampment along a super secluded path behind some train tracks where Tynes found a man lying on the couch and unsuccessfully tried to wake him. Facebook. He told WTAE that he also spotted an unconscious woman whose legs were sticking out of a tent. Tynes called 911 to report the scene. The first responders arrived within minutes to take the pair to the hospital. He later posted on Facebook. Pittsburgh's Public Safety Department later confirmed to media outlets that the man and woman, both unresponsible, had been taken from the encampment to the hospital. We are grateful to our public safety partners and the Good Samaritan who were in the area and in position to help, officials also said. Tynes wrote that he soon encountered a social worker who knew the 2 people taken to the hospital were unhoused. The social worker, I like how they say unhoused instead of homeless. I mean, that's an actual accurate term, because homeless people are not homeless. They have a home. It might be their car. It might be their ground.
That's why saying unhoused is the politically correct term, right?
Yep. So 2 people were taken to the hospital were unhoused. The social worker also knew the dog who led Tynes to his 2 people was theirs, he wrote. So good for the social worker doing her job. Instead of leaving the dog in custody of the local pounds, Tynes wrote that he agreed to take care of the pit bull while the animal's owner. Right.
How
the pound's gonna
sweet. Go. Wow. The
exactly.
empathy
What's the pound
this guy
gonna do?
has.
You have a home?
Yeah.
We can't release this dog to you unless you have a home. And then they euthanize. That's
well, that would save the dog's life now. Yeah.
Yay! This dog doesn't want to live anymore. Anyway, it's an honor for me to take care of this guy until the dog that loves them. Tynes, whose post and interview with the WTAE gained widespread attention to online. Yeah, I hate the people that These people got one possession in life, and it's their dog, and it's their best friend, and it saved their lives. Let's take it away from them because they're being mean to the dog. Not mean to the dog. The dog don't mind living outside. Just give me a tent, I'll be fine.
Fun fact, we're all animals, and houses are a concept for shelter, and that's all they are. Yeah. Having an address is fake. Is not real. You're not born with an address, okay?
Right, you're born to die, as the folk song says. Sorry about that. There is no life without death. Think about it that way. Tynes told WTAE that the pit bull he is fostering is a persistent little puppy, amazing, and definitely saved some lives. Furthermore, he shared on Facebook that he is in recovery from heroin addiction and said he was so glad sobriety put me into my intuition more. On that day, he met the attentive animal. Again, recovering heroin addict saves lives is another headline, you could say. The experience has been surreal, but it only reaffirms to me that God is real. Well, if you want to say that, God is a dog. How about that?
That'd be pretty cool.
D-O-D backwards. It
like
reaffirms
Egypt.
to me that dog is real, and he speaks to you if you choose to listen. And I'm so glad that I did. Yeah, God is an actual pit bull. How about that? Officials did not immediately. Well, could be. Well, how would you know?
Maybe the guy who wasn't an asshole was God. Hey, I'm gonna not send your pit bull to the pound. Wow. You're my new God.
I said this to religious people. Oh, probably back when I was 20 or something. I said, well, I'm God. Prove me wrong. They couldn't. Therefore, I'm God. I'm just being sarcastic. Officials did not immediately share details about two people's conditions or what had caused them to become responsive, yet among those who have contributed to a flood of commentary on Time's Facebook page was a user who wrote, "This is the woman's life you and my dog saved. My boyfriend and I would love to meet you." A separate comment from the same user under a picture of a pit bull, which Times hashtag hero dog said, "Thank you. Mama can't wait to get home to you." So I guess those are the people who commented. Times replied to the user who referred to the pit bull as East O. "He's all good. He will be here when you are. We will forever be in debt to you." The user identified as a dog's owner wrote to Times in another exchange. Times responded, "I'm so glad you're both okay. I know it's hard. I've been there. I can get better. It can get better." The pit bull pup is not the only one who has flagged down life-saving aid from first responders. In September, a dog saved her owner, who hurt his leg at home in rural Washington State, fell and couldn't get up for hours by walking to a road, sitting in the middle of a road until the sheriff's deputy stopped and leading the officer to them. Dogs are friggin' smart.
Yeah, that's why they're man's best friend. So taking your dog away is just cruel, right? Just cruel.
And in January 2024, a man who was plunged through the ice in a frozen Michigan lake was saved when his dog brought him rescue equipment at the direction of a state police officer, and then pulled the animal's owner, to safety. I gotta stop, my eyes are getting blurry, but that's the end of the story anyway.
Okay. I mean, this reminds me of a movie, actually. I don't know if it's like a straight-to-video movie or like on YouTube or something. But it's a movie about a guy who has a cat. And he's unhoused as well, and he has a cat, and he just like plays music and has a cat on his shoulder. And there's like a whole drama with the cat. They're trying to take the cat away. And then a bunch of people who see him around the street corner gather together and like sign a poll within hours of like the police coming and saying, "We might have to take your cat away because it can't be living on the street," or whatever. And they sign a poll saying, "This guy is a great cat owner. There's literally brings joy to everyone's life with him and his cat." And then, they come back and he's like, "I'm sorry. I guess here's the cat." And then she's like, No, you don't understand. Thousands of people sign up. You're keeping your freaking cat." I don't know what movie it is, but I've seen clips of it on my shorts about this guy who plays music and has a cat on his shoulder. It is really sad though. These people are able to get around, right, to sign a poll saying, "Don't take the guy's cat," but they can't get around to be like, "Let's get you a house or somewhere to live."
Right. My God, it's a pet that has to live outdoors. I'm like, don't.
You know who can fix that? The human being, yeah. Getting a house.
Every time I hear animal shelter, oh, they're going to euthanize somebody's pet. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Idiots. All right.
Tragic. Let's roll our segue for my culture news. Also, do you have anything for the mic drop?
Culture. I'm working on it.
Okay. Alliteration headline.
That's
That
my
should be
speed.
easy enough for you to figure out.
Oh, crap. I got to write something now.
This story is coming off of The Guardian by... Who is it by? Who wrote this article? Dave Simpson on The Guardian, and it's an interview with Deep Purple, famous for their song Smoke on the Water. We went to see Frank Zappa at Montreux Casino, but someone fired a flare gun in the ceiling and whoosh, the whole building went up in flames. Roger Glover, the bass and songwriter, wanted a more exciting sound than they were getting in the conventional recording studio, so he hired the Rolling Stones mobile studio for 3 weeks to record in Montreux Casino. It was 1971, and the night before they were due to begin, they saw Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention play in the casino as part of the Montreux Jazz Festival. But as the song puts it, some stupid with a flare gun fired into the ceiling. Sparks came down and everyone had to get out. Roger became separated from the band, so went back inside to find them. The place was empty, but just as he came out, something exploded and whoosh, the whole building went up in flames. They sat out in the bar hotel a couple blocks away and watched the plume of black smoke as the beautiful old casino was reduced to charred wood. A couple of mornings later, Glover was aware that he had said the phrase "smoke on the water" loudly in the room and woke up. Later, after guitarist Richie Blackmore had come up with a mid-tempo riff, he suggested "Smoke on the Water" as the title of the song, about what had happened at the casino. There's a great photograph of singer Ian Gillan with his notebook open and the first 2 verses written.
So you're saying Ian Gillan wrote the lyrics? All right,
No.
that's cool.
It didn't say...
He wrote,
no.
He wrote
No,
he wrote
we're
the
saying
Smoke on the
Roger
Water.
Glover came up with the title. Now we're talking about
okay.
Ian Gillan coming up with the notebook, with the lyrics.
There you go. Right on.
There was a great photograph of singer Ian Gillan with his notebook open and the first 2 verses written. I'm sat opposite of him, listening to Richie's guitar through headphones. Ian and I were throwing lyrical ideas to each other, and we had some songs within maybe 15 minutes. It came out as if we were writing in a journal. We came out to Montreux on the Lake Geneva shoreline. Funky Claude is Claude Knobs, the Jazz Festival founder, and a lovely man who was running around pulling kids out as his world went up in flames. Montreux has always been special to Deep Purple because of what happened. The last time they were there, signs by the lake read, "No smoking on the water," and 4 jets released smoke over the water as they played. They felt very emotional, but they never get tired of playing the song. Someone once said, it's like having a button that you press to make the audience go nuts. And it's also the first song a lot of guitarists ever learned is "Smoke on the Water." Very easy riff, but doesn't mean it's bad just because it's easy. Ian Pace, the drums and songwriter, said, "Before I had any lyrics, Smokes on the Water was known as the Dur 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 song. Da 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 song." There you go. Because Richie's riff. After the casino burned down, Cloud found us a place called the Pavilion Ballroom, where they started playing around with it. John Lord doubled up on the riff on the organ, but with the inversions to the chords. Roger's bass playing was really solid, and that gave Ian room to flash around. So the drums build up is a crescendo. They had just started recording when we were flashing lights outside and the police arrived. Brody's managed to hold the door shut until we finished the take. Then a police officer said, "You must stop! Too loud!" Claude suggested they continue at the closed Grand Hotel, by which time Richie decided he didn't want the slow song, "When a Blind Man Cries" on the Machine Head album. That left the track short, but engineer Martin Birch reminded them that the first thing we did in the pavilion. Once Ian Gillan and Roger started telling the story in lyrics, it started to become "Smoke on the Water." So the "Smoke on the Water" was kind of their, we need another track for the album. Oh, remember what we wrote right after the gigantic casino fire?
Yep.
We finished recording on the ground floor court of the hotel, having raided the rooms, and my camera froze.
Uh-oh.
Damn you, camera! I'm not sure.
Stinking
Am I disconnecting? Maybe.
Copy. Okay, that done.
Am I disconnecting or the camera just frozen?
Let me see. I see you blinking your eyes on Discord, so I don't think your camera's frozen.
Well, that's a different camera, but thank you.
Oh, okay. Whatever. At least your eyes aren't frozen.
Okay, we're back. We finished recording on the ground floor court of the hotel, having raided the rooms and used mattresses to block the sound leaking. Hence the line, a few red lights and a few old beds. At that point, it was just another album track. We had no idea it would become really important, but the public decides those things. Warner Bros. In Los Angeles loved it, but said it was too long for the radio. So unbeknown to them, one of their engineers cut it down to 4 minutes. Rest is history. As they say, on the Made in Japan live version, they were playing it for a year and had found these little nooks and crannies to explore. So it's different. The audience did the hand claps in time with the riff. Ian had trouble hearing through the monitors that night in Osaka, so at the end he says the wonderful line, "I want everyone louder than everything else." A good 40 years after we recorded it, I was playing one of those little pickup bands in a restaurant in Italy, and someone said the chef wanted to say hello. He came up to me and said, "I was the chef in the casino when it burned down." Wow, that's crazy! That's wild! Well, I would say that too. Yeah, prove it! Yeah. Probably can't prove it. But...
No, you don't have to, right?
Yeah, whatever, it's cool enough. We don't need to prove it. It's a fun story, even if it's not real. But the reason we read this interview with Deep Purple is because the Made in Japan album is on its 50th anniversary edition, so you can get that. Want to listen or stream it, probably. Want to listen some good Smoke on the Water and whatever other tracks are on the album, because I have no idea what
Highway Star.
Highway Star. That's my favorite driving song, even though I don't drive.
Highway Star. Also on that album is Space Trucker.
There you go. He knows all the tracks. See, thank you. I don't know anything.
I don't know all the tracks. I just named 3. That's
well, you know more than me, which is just Smoke on the Water.
You know Highway Star. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but I didn't know it was on that album. I don't know what's on the album myself. That's what I mean.
Yeah, they recorded Highway Star and Smoke on the Water, their 2 biggest classic rocks, on the same album in the same studio using the Rolling Stones mobile. One of 3 classic albums recorded on the mobile that I know of. You know,
Here we go. Here's all the tracks. It opens with Highway Star, Child in Time, Smoke on the Water, The Mule, Strange Kind of Woman, Lazy, Space Truckin'.
Lazy. No, and Space Truckin's a great song.
That's it. So it's a 7-track LP. I mean, it was a live show, right?
Lazy,
and to be fair, Child in Time is 11 minutes. Highway Star is 7. You know, they have a lot of long songs.
Yeah, the live in Japan version of Smoke on the Water is
7 minutes.
I think it was 74 or 70. Wait, you say it's the 50th anniversary of Live in Japan?
Yeah, 50th anniversary. So it was 72.
So Live in Japan was released in 75, which gave Deep Purple a chance to release a double-sided 45 with the original Smoke on the Water on one side and the live version on the other side. So you get to choose which ones you like. So that's my little...
Yeah, I think that's what it says they did here. They had they had a 3 CD set. Yeah. A disc 1 was Good Morning, which was a recording in Osaka on the 15th of August. Disc 2 was next week, Returning Professional, which was recorded on the 16th. And I don't know why these are... for some reason, there's tracks that are in bold, but I don't know why. I think that they had 2 encores, Black Knight and Lucille, but they're not included. And then the disc 3 was Can We Have Everything Louder Than Everything Else, which is that famous quote in which they smoke... Yeah. 75 minutes of
Child in
Deep
the
Purple.
Time. I keep
you can say.
trying to...
Your segue.
You're done.
At some point.
No, I was just going to say, Ian Gillan, of course, is the singer for Child in Time, is the one where he demonstrates his range, like he can hit them really high notes. Putting that out. Ian Gillan is his headline is about Some stupid slacker shot sparks, so smoke surrounded superior singer.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Nice.
All right. Ian Gillan, the singer of Deep Purple at the time.
Sounds good.
Nobody gonna my car.
Okay, let's go our next segue for this day in history.
Hold on.
I guess we're listening to Deep Purple today. Well, for the rest of the stream. I also do alliteration headlines. Look at that.
Okay,
Easy.
I'll send you a video because I neglected to do it because all the stuff that happened during your story
got you excited of talking. Yeah, I've got the video. Go ahead to this day in history.
If you want to say hi to Melanie, she's here. She's the one who was knocking on the door. Say to
knock, knocking on the door. Hey, hey. That's a different song.
Hey, no, somebody ringing the bell. All right, I finally sent you a video. Now we're getting on to this day in history. And I'll get my glasses for this. This day in history. Bum, 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 bum. We need some this day in history music. I was going to play Smoke on the Water in the guitar. You can't hear it anyway. You can't hear it anyway. I won't pick it up. 1274, on this day, Edward I was crowned King of England in Westminster. Good old Edward I. Was he Longshank or was it Edward II? I forget. 1458, Ennio Silvio Piccolomini was elected Pope Pius II following the death of Calixtus III, however you say that. 1812, the USS Constitution, which is still floating and still goes out to the sea because it's made of wood. It's called it's made of wood and it's called Ironside. Okay, anyway, the USS Constitution, commanded by Isaac Hull, won a brilliant victory. British frigate HMS Guerre in the War of 1812. Yeah, USS Constitution. I looked it up the other day, as a matter of fact. Not made of iron, but called Old Ironsides because of the strong wood hull. 1847, U.S. forces under Major General Winfield Scott, he is the very model of the modern Major General, began the Battle of Contreras, opening the final campaign of the Mexican-American War. Winfield Scott, who was commanded the Union forces for like 5 minutes during the Civil War, and then Lincoln said, that guy's 106, why is he still in the Army? In 1883, French fashion designer Coco Chanel was born, who, with her elegantly casual creations, ruled over Parisian haute couture for almost 6 decades. In 1834, some 90% of German voters approved the referendum that made Adolf Hitler Führer und Reichskanzler, leader and chancellor. Oh, way to go, morons. 90% of you morons. I mean, Jesus, I thought... I'm sorry, I won't go on a tangent. 1936, Soviet officials began the Great Purge of prominent old Bolsheviks. Yeah, that's right. Stalin decided there's no better thing than an old Bolshevik going to the graveyard. Real or potential political rivals and critics of Joseph Stalin as the first show trial opened, resulting in execution of Len Kamenev and others. So a purge of, hey, you're not wanting being with Stalin after all the time. Ugh. 1945, a commando force formed under Vo Nguyen Giap under Vietnamese nationalist leader Ho Chi Minh entered the Vietnamese capital of Hanoi. And have a good old time because the French tried to put a stop to it. That didn't work. And eventually a whole bunch of people died and accomplished nothing. 1960, American pilot Francis Gary Powers was sentenced to 10 years confinement in the Soviet Union for espionage following the U2 affair. Not the band, not Bono and the Edge playing their favorite songs. The U2 was a spy plane.
Yeah, the U2 bomber, right? What? Or not a bomber, but...
No, it was a spy plane. Didn't bomb nothing. It was a reconnaissance plane. Took pictures from the sky. From way up in the sky. But he was later released in 1962 in exchange for Soviet spy. Bell. Again, not a bomber, a spy plane. 1994, American theological physicist, chemist Linus Pauling, the only person to have won 2 unshared Nobel Prizes in chemistry and peace. He won chemistry in 54 and peace in 1962, and he died on this day in 1994 at the age of 93. Good, long, healthy, predictive life. 2004, the search engine company Google Inc. raised $1.66 billion in its initial public offering. This is what companies do. They go public to raise money. They don't give up controlling interest, but they raise a lot of money so they can buy other companies. Yay! Expensive since the invention of capitalism. Anyway, this is what happened. Oh, Google hasn't made anything expensive. Bullshit. Anyway, in an unusual move, the shares were sold in public auction intended to put the average investor on equal footing with financial industry professional. Well, it's interesting, though. Public auction, instead of selling preferred shares to only rich investors, they at least gave everybody else with no money a chance to buy shares. You know, you borrow 1,000, buy some shares in Google, you probably made some money back in, what year was this, 2004? Yeah, 2004. So 21 years ago, Google went public. Our featured event, Gorbachev was arrested. Yeah, on this day in 1991, Mikhail Gorbachev, the General Secretary of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union and President of the Soviet Union, was briefly ousted in a coup by communist hardliners. This was one of those dominoes. Dissolution. What's it called? What do you want to call it?
Dissolution?
Dissolution of the Soviet Union. Yeah, nobody was buying that shit. And the next thing you know, Boris Yeltsin was out there saying, "I'm the president of Russia and you can all go to hell." And it was a really optimistic time. It's too bad to do this. Other featured birthdays today, it is Bill Clinton's birthday, President of the United States, the last person to balance the budget. August 19th, 1946, Bill Clinton turning 79 today. So happy birthday. He's actually younger than Trump, and he hasn't been president for 25 years. So there it tells you how old that bastard is. Bill Clinton said, 25 years ago. No, he was term limited, sorry. Hey, our other birthdays, Philo Farnsworth. Do you know who Philo Farnsworth is? Born in 1906?
No, I don't think so.
American inventor? Got a clue what he invented yet? He invented
Something
television.
with farming? Television?
Television. Philo Farnsworth, the inventor of television, born in 1906.
Specifically like the vacuum tubes television, basically?
Yeah, the thing where you see pictures and they move. But
Yeah.
you put it in a box. Yeah, he invented that. The cathode ray tube.
Yeah, there you go, the tube. That's what I wanted to, yeah.
And the electron gun. You have a tube.
Oh, yeah,
and you
that's
have a
the
gun.
thing that shoots onto the screen, yes.
And the screen is different. Anyway, 1921 is the birthday of Gene Roddenberry. Speaking of television, Gene Roddenberry, American writer and producer, creator of Star Trek. Speaking of television, again, 1952, Fred Thompson, American politician and actor. He was an actor before he was a politician. Unfortunately, he was a Republican who thought that the Republican Party was worth something, and he ran as a Republican from Tennessee. And he got into the Senate and said, "God, the Republican Party sure is a bunch of fascists," and then he left because he couldn't get anything done that he wanted. So, well, Fred Thompson's birthday today, Bill Clinton's birthday, and Fred Thompson born in 1942, and Crown Princess Mette-Marit of Norway is born in this day in 1973. What national days is it today? National Potato, National Soft Ice Cream Day, and National Aviation. So get your soft ice cream, get on a plane, and I don't know, eat a potato or whatever. They have potatoes on a plane. French fries, whatever. There's your days. There's your days. Your mispronunciations, your bad jokes, your great news, your good news, and everything in between. August 19th, 2025, on Before Potato.
Potato. All right, I've got 3 alliteration headlines for you here. First one. Clinton's charismatic charm captivated crowds, cultivating countless conversations.
Wait, hold on.
That probably happened. Audacious architects aimed at a abrupt alteration, attempting to attack against administrator. That's for Gorbachev.
Wow.
There. Yeah, I was trying to think of a word for leader. That's out of the A, administrator. Prancing nice, potatoes promote party pleasures on potato parade. I don't know what that means, but have fun at your potato parade.
Taters.
Potato parade. We also have a UN International Observance today. It's World Humanitarian Day. That's right, we're all humans, and we should treat each other like humans. Not a single human being on this planet doesn't belong here. We all belong here. So act for humanity. We mark World Humanitarian Day, a time to honor those who step into crisis to help others and stand with millions of people who live lives hanging in the balance. Whether it's helping your local unhoused person with their pit bull, or reminding humanity not to drop nukes on countries, we're all here about acting for humanity and reminding ourselves, hey, we can be bad, but a lot of times we can be good.
Right.
This has been...
A lot of humanitarians are not humans. They're dogs. They're other animals. They think more about you than you do about yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So this has been Good Tues Newsday. Allison here from the Netherlands and Roger from the East Coast of the U.S. As we tie off some positive news, we'll see you tomorrow for wacky and weird news on Wacky and Weird Wednesday. Make sure you're following, you're subscribed, and you have those notifications turned on so you know when we go live and post a video. Here is our administrator ousting mic drop moment.
On the 19th of August 1991, Mikhail Gorbachev, the president of the Soviet Union, was placed under house arrest during what is known as the August
I don't think this is AI. This is a real guy speaking.
Opposed to Gorbachev's vast reforms,
this is a British man.
The leaders of the coup believed that the new Union
He's talking way too slow to be AI. AI always
which had
talks
been
way too
approved
fast.
in a union-wide referendum, threatened the complete disintegration of the USSR.
Do you hear that? Disintegration, not disillusion. Disintegration
had already
into
declared
ash.
their independence from the Union. But the new Union Treaty would devolve much of the Soviet Union's remaining power to individual states.
Oh my God!
It was while Gorbachev was on holiday in Foros, a resort in the Crimea, that the coup was launched. On the 17th of August, the coup's leaders met with Gorbachev and demanded that he either declare a state of emergency or resign. Although the specific details of the conversation are unclear, the outcome was that Gorbachev refused. Gorbachev was placed under house arrest.
I don't think
and the leaders of the coup, known as the Gang
Russia
of
had its own
Eight,
leader, Yeltsin.
created the
Soviet Union had
Committee
Gorbachev
of the State of Emergency to govern the USSR
I have no
due
idea.
to Gorbachev suffering from what they described as an illness. The changes in government were announced on state media on the morning
it was
of
never
the
going to
19th,
last because
but
Czechia and
having chosen
Poland
not
and
to arrest
Czechoslovakia
Russian
at the time
President
were
Boris Yeltsin,
always
the coup
protesting every
faced
other
a
month,
major blow
protesting
when he began publicly
USSR's
against
decisions.
it.
It was breaking
2 days
up. They were
later,
just trying to hold
the
together.
military that supported the coup failed to take control of the Russian Parliament building.
But like
in
even
the
from the
face of
beginning, right?
mass
The
civil
beginning
resistance.
since World War II, they have
The
satellite
coup
states were
collapsed on the
protesting.
21st of August,
So
but the USSR was left seriously
It took 2
weekend.
days for this coup to
Just
close.
over 4
USSR
months
didn't exist
later,
anymore, buddy.
The Soviet
That
Union
weekend, it
was
was
officially
gone.
dissolved.
Yeah. That's what happens when
4
you
months.
are weakened, you don't exist anymore.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.